I'm honestly surprised you're getting Tampa at plus 150. I just think look at who Colorado had to go through, specifically with goaltending. The goalies they've gone up against were Ingram, Rittich, 2 games of Binnington, then a bunch of Husso, who was terrible in that series, and then Mike Smith and a little Mikko Koskinen. They haven't played anyone who's even on the same planet as Andrei Vasilevsky.
Just to me, like, Colorado's no question. They're very, very good, but it's like you said, Vasilevsky he's Vasilevsky again, and they're going to have a hard time with that. He's not going to give you gimmies like Mike Smith did in the Western Conference Finals. That's for sure.
Mm. Yeah. I like my official pick on Daily Faceoff was the Avs in 7, but I just think from a value perspective, it's worth betting on the Lightning a little bit. And the other thing I'm doing is I'm stashing aside a little bit of money in case Colorado comes out hot and wins game 1, which I could very much see happening. If Colorado wins game 1, you're going to be getting the Lightning at probably like plus 190, plus 200. And that's an auto bet for me if they go down 1-0 in the series.
Where I'm looking on here is I love the series props for players.
Okay.
What do you guys think of this one that I've got on my book right now? Nathan McKinnon total shots on goal in the series is over 27.5 is plus 100 right now. I hammered that. That guy fires pucks like crazy. And I can't see that changing, even though they're going to be going up against a formidable opponent, the Tampa Bay Lightning.
So he's averaging 5.85 shots per game so far in this series. So you would need him to get 28 to hit the bet. So 28 divided by 5.85. You basically, if he keeps up his average, all you need is this series to go 5 games and you're going to hit the bet more or less.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I like that. Actually, I'm with you.
And another one, Nikita Kucherov. What is his shots average? Because he's at 20.5, and that's plus 115. That one's another one that intrigues me.
Yeah, he doesn't rip the pill as much as McKinnon does. Average of 3.5. So if the series goes 6, he's going to end with about just over 21 shots is the math on that. So it's close. That line is set probably right where it should. But the thing with Kucherov is like you never know. There's games for that guy. Like when you go back to the regular season where he'll just like randomly rifle off a shitload of shots in one game. Like he had this season alone, he had 2 games with 8, 2 games with 7, a game with 6, and 4 games with 5. So if he has a couple games where he goes at like 4 or 5 shots, if he has one where he has 7, then you're laughing.
One bet I was looking at that you I was trying to pull up my things when you were talking about it, but you said if Tampa to lose game 1, right, Ty?
Yeah, if they were to lose game 1.
Okay, so there's one bet I found that was Tampa to win the series from behind is plus 350.
Interesting.
Like I said last week that Colorado could sweep, which was bold of me. I don't think that's going to happen anymore. But like Tampa, I might just go back to Tampa. I might go back to my original thing where I never bet on them. I spoke too soon. I was a little premature. But Tampa Bay to win from behind, because have they won a game 1? Like obviously when they beat Florida, but weren't they down to New York and to Toronto 1-0?
Yeah, I think they lost 5-0 in game 1 to Toronto.
Yeah, so I think something I might do is that to win from behind bet.
An interesting one. Circling back to player props, there's a couple I like in this series. I'm going right back to Kucherov over 2.5 goals.
I got that one too.
If you're going to give me minus 118 on a guy that talented, he could get a hat trick. Like he's that good, right? He could very easily rip off a hattie in every game. So I love that as a bet. I like Palat to go over 1.5 goals in the series. It's only minus 143, but again, that guy's been so good over the course of this playoff run. And I'm also taking Palat over 4 points in the series at minus 118. You're at least getting a push there. There's no way Palat doesn't put up 4 points.
He was so good in the conference finals too. Like, didn't he have a goal in all but 1 game?
Yeah. Like he's sick. He's on a run right now. I mean, he's a pending UFA. He's trying to earn himself as much money as possible. I love taking Palat over 4 points.
I like that one a lot too, actually.
Like there's interesting value interesting picks that don't pay out great. And I know sometimes, is the juice worth the squeeze and all that, but like even Anthony Cirelli over 2 points. Like, I just think he's probably putting up 2 points in this series. Again, the Lightning are going up against a Colorado team that against Edmonton struggled at times to keep pucks out of their net, and their goaltending has a bunch of question marks surrounding it. So I think Lightning player props are the way to go in this Cup final.
I was thinking that too, like going into that Western Conference Finals, everyone was saying Edmonton has a chance to beat them because Kemper hasn't been good or faced a good opponent. You know, Edmonton exposed Kemper a little bit, I guess you could say, in that game one. They didn't see him for the rest of the series, but what do you have? 3 goals on 13 shots or something like that? Like Tampa Bay's offense might even be better than Edmonton's as a whole. Like if they get on top of him, like they could easily put five by him, 4 or 5 by him a game, right? Like it's not out of the question, I don't think.
And the other side of that is why I'm staying away from a lot of the Avs player props, because I just don't know, like, how can you bet on any player to consistently beat Andre Vasilevsky? You know?
Yep. He's looking like Andre Vasilevsky again. And that's why, like, I have a hard time. Like, I think that this could be the year where Colorado gets it done. They're just a really solid hockey team. But when you've got a goaltender like that playing at the other end, I have a hard time betting on it.
Yeah.
There was actually on the Suitcase and the Scribe this morning, Mike McKenna was talking about Vasilevsky versus the Avs. It's only 5 games, bear that in mind, over his career. But Vasilevsky's worst save percentage is against the Avalanche in the NHL. They obviously haven't played in the playoffs, but in the regular season, I think he said he had an 881 in 5 games and was 1-4.
Interesting.
So, you know, it's a little different playoffs, but a little stat to throw at you right there if you're that confident in Vasilevsky, at least to kind of even it out, I suppose.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Very interesting.
Game 1, any other player props, or did we cover all the ones we kind of like, Liam?
I was going to ask you, is there any of those, did you see any of those like player head-to-heads that you like? I know we spoke about like Nurse and Makar in the last round, which was hilarious, and Kanan and Kachuk.
Makar Hedman is priced similarly to what Makar Nurse was. But again, I can't bet on Makar because I don't know how many goals Vasilevsky is going to give up. Kucherov to get more goals than Rantanen is interesting, and Palat to get more goals than Lehkonen is interesting.
Wasn't Rantanen struggling before the Edmonton series?
He was really cold.
Yeah. Then Kucherov's kind of heating up a little bit. He's playing a lot better. And like, to be honest, it seems like one of those where it's like those players just aren't really on the same level.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What did you say the odds were for Kucherov to win that one?
I think Kucherov was the underdog in that matchup, wasn't he? So yeah, Kucherov's plus 101.
Whoa. Interesting. That might be one to look at.
But when Rantanen gets hot, like he's really good. So that's why I'm a little bit like, but.
Well, it's going to be interesting too to see where Rantanen plays. Like he's without Kadri, right? Like is he the second line center? Like I'll be curious to see how it goes down with him.
Him being
plus,
a center could hurt his production.
Yeah, and like Braden Point coming back, like how does that help Kucherov on the power play and that kind of stuff? You know, like is a big upgrade from having Corey Perry on the power play compared to Braden Point.
Yeah, there is. Interesting. Game 1 tonight. I think I'm rolling with the under in this game.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. The only question mark for me is the goaltending in Colorado. Kemper hasn't been great, like Liam said. Francouz was okay against the Oilers, but definitely not unbeatable. In terms of goaltending, I think the Avs have an advantage, though. Liam has piqued my interest with those numbers from Mike McKenna. So what is the under set at, Tyler?
It's at 6, and it's basically paying even money.
Is it confirmed that Kemper's playing? Like he's back, right?
It's not confirmed because they wouldn't say anything. But Peter Baugh said he was, where am I going with this? Peter Baugh was the one, who said he was in the starters net at practice. So,
okay.
Yeah,
I could see Colorado taking game 1 tonight. Just a home ice thing. I don't know. Like I said, the trend's there for Tampa Bay not to do well in game 1 so far, 1 for 2. So I think I would go Colorado tonight. Maybe is it worth sprinkling on the spread just with the empty net factor on the puck line? You know, like we spoke about
maybe.
that.
I could see this being like 3-2 or like 4-2. Yeah.
Yeah. There was that. I think it was in the second round, which obviously is a little bit more open, I suppose. But what was it, Ty, when we looked it up? Like all but like 3 games had gone for a spread, and we're in like game 5 or 6 of each series. It was kind of crazy.
And then Colorado actually covered the spread in 3 of their 4 wins against the Oilers. And so spread might be the play if you like Colorado.